15 entrances and fellowship exams, including the NEET, Joint Entrance Examination or the JEE, and the Common Management Test or the CMAT. These exams together involve more than 1 crore students every year, which makes the NTA one of the largest exams conducting agencies in the world. Though an autonomous and self-sustained premier testing body, it is allowed to use the Government of India's emblem and its members are picked by the government. The government has formed a high-level committee of experts to review the functioning of the agency. It removed the agency's chief, Subodh Kumar Singh, and put him on compulsory wait till further orders. Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan also referred to the leaks as an institutional failure of the NTA. This raises a key question. Is it time the government took full control of the NTA? We will discuss this issue with 2 top academicians, but before that, we spoke to Congress MP Gaurav Gogoi to find out more about the opposition strategy in Parliament on the exam controversy.
The government's actions are too little, too late and too weak. I believe the Education Minister, who has been the minister since 2021 and under whose reign all these new changes have been brought in the examination system, and we've seen one after the other all these examination papers being leaked. If the NTA chairman has to go, surely the Education Minister has to go. And the fact that they have repeated the same Education Minister under whose tenure over the last 3 years, this mafia has become even bigger and the syndicate has become even more entrenched. It seems that the BJP and RSS have some vested interest in letting the current system go. Right. And therefore, I think it is the meritorious who are suffering. And as Rahul Gandhi ji said, it is because the RSS and BJP are hell-bent on putting their men in key positions in the education sector that the examination system today is totally rigged.
Academicians are also questioning the credentials of the National Testing Agency. Now, this is a private body registered under the Registration of Societies Act under the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. So questions are being raised as to why a private body is being allowed to conduct competitive examinations of such large scale, which include lakhs of candidates across the country. Is that a point that you will question as well?
Obviously.
What is the locus of this body?
Obviously, but who approved it? Who proposed the idea that there should be an NTA? Who proposed the idea that NTA should be a private body registered under the Societies Act? And then who signed it? Surely the buck doesn't stop at the NTA. The buck stops at somebody with a higher position, with a higher political authority. And we have to follow the line. We have to follow this investigation. And therefore, I'm still not convinced. I say this again and again. What is this committee going to do? By when will this committee come up with a paper? This is all an eyewash. This is all a cosmetic sector. Because the RSS and BJP want to put their men in key positions, that is why the sector is where it is today. The system is rigged and lakhs of young people have wasted their money, time and effort in giving these examinations.
If there were to be certain core changes that you would recommend, what would those be?
Well, right now the Education Minister has to go. At the same time, there has to be an impartial inquiry because we have to find out right from what is happening in an exam center in Godhra to who is it in Delhi who is influencing all these examinations. These examinations, this entire pattern, we are seeing it in the CUET also. So we feel that there are people in other positions also, in other bodies related to higher education who are involved in this. So there has to be an impartial inquiry. We will raise this in all forms that is available to us. The Parliament has a lot of tools at its disposal to raise the issues of the public, and rest assured the India Alliance will raise all the issues.
All right, we're now joined by V Ramgopal Rao, Vice Chancellor of Pilani Group, a former director of IIT. Also joining is Dr. Vidya Yeravdekar, Pro-Chancellor of Symbiosis International University. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on the program. Dr. Vidya, if I could begin with you, give us a sense of your own experience in conducting competitive tests at Symbiosis. Is there something we can replicate at a national level?
Yes, so for our MBA entrance exam, we have a test called SNAP, which is the Symbiosis National Aptitude Test, and over 100,000 students sit for this exam. We have also outsourced it to TCS, and TCS conducts this online at their centers. But there are a lot of security measures that we have a whole team, a whole department under the university that actually manages and operates this test. So that's at the undergraduate level and postgraduate level, and at the undergraduate level we have another exam called SET. For law we have SLAT, again managed by TCS online. So it is finally, looking at the security measures, having a team to monitor it well. That's how examinations become foolproof. And also, a choice given to students to appear for the exam at least 3 times, so that if someone misses the exam once, then he has a chance to appear it on another day and maybe on another day. So that's the way we conduct our examinations. And by God's grace, things have been going on very smooth till date, and students have no complaints. In fact, they're very happy with the examination being conducted. And it's conducted over more than 110 centers across India.
Okay. Dr. Rao, if I were to ask you about the NTA as a body altogether, it was formed in 2017. This was a private autonomous body. Yes, it was headed by a IAS officer, and now it has been replaced with another IAS officer, Mr. Karola. But it is registered under the Registration of Societies Act under the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Do you think an agency which has to conduct tests of such scale involving exams which have 24 lakh candidates, 11 lakh candidates, should a private body be conducting such tests, or should it be brought completely under government control?
No, I think the government control will be even worse. The best models probably are, for example, IITs conduct the JEE Advanced examination, right? The JEE Advanced examination is about 2 lakh students, or completely an online kind of an exam, or the GATE exam that IITs conduct, which is again 12 lakh, 13 lakh students, at one point of time. And that's again an online kind of an exam. I think, education and exams need to be left to educationists. I don't believe that a bureaucrat sitting in a ministry, without any ownership of that exam, without any commitment to the whole thing, because bureaucrats keep changing every 2 years. There is nothing at stake, for many of them. Whereas when IITs conduct the exam, it's like, it's a commitment. It's an ownership. Their entire name is at stake. If an IIT exam gets leaked, the whole country talks bad about IITs, I think, which no IIT would want to do. If we look at the JEE Advanced examination, track record, in the last, as long as I can remember, there was never a question paper leak, and there was never any kind of a problem. And that is because of the faculty involvement in this examination from day one. From the paper setting, which is almost like a month, a group of faculty spending time in closed doors without even an access to a mobile phone, even without talking to their family members. I think that is where it all starts. At every stage of the way, the faculty members are involved in the IIT examinations. I think that is the kind of a commitment that IITs have. I think, or if you want to do it in the government system, I think UPSC probably is a better model, because UPSC has that autonomy. It has a board, it has the UPSC members and all of that, who are people who actually have gone through a similar kind of a thing. They know what is at stake, and there is autonomy also associated with UPSC. They rope in, all the kind of experts and all of that. I think instead of an NTA kind of a model, I would believe a constitutional body like UPSC conducting the exam, if at all government needs to do that. Otherwise, leave it to AIMS. All these AIMS, whatever number of 12, 13 AIMS that we have, they can come together like what IITs do for the JEE Advanced or the GATE examination. These AIMS, all these AIMS can come together and conduct this exam. I can tell you, once they start doing it with that ownership and commitment, they can actually do that. And all these protocols for conducting such large examinations do exist in the country. I mean, you just need to go through what the world is doing. If you want to learn from the world, SAT is one good model, right? SAT exam is also one thing where almost like 2 million students take that exam, and which is, there is a question bank, and you can take this any number of times. And I think that's one kind of a model that one can move to. There are multiple models. I think NTA, in my opinion, is not the right body, to conduct this exam with some IAS officers, who are heading that. I don't believe that's actually a way to do, such high stakes kind of examinations.
Very important point. Very important point, sir. Let me take that to Dr. Vidya. Dr. Vidya, do you also believe that NTA as a body has not been able to do its job? It hasn't been framed correctly. We need a new body. And what do you think? There should be a body which has a very large strength of people conducting exam, or it should be a very lean team which works confidentially and conducts exams completely online, as you do in Symbiosis, as we do, Dr. Rao, in IITs across the country? Dr. Vidya.
Yeah, Parikshit, actually, what Dr. Rao said and what I said before this is the commitment of people. I mean, whether it's NTA, whether it's any other organization that, is given the responsibility to conduct this examination, it is not just the commitment of people, but also the knowledge. So, if you involve academics in any conduct of such an examination, and AIMS would be the right people to look at the NEET examination. Why not involve them? So there could be an autonomous body, but then involve academicians, because academicians are serious about examinations. I mean, that's something that we are so concerned about. And Dr. Rao very rightly said, even in Symbiosis, that people put their heads together. They're not concerned about families and anything personal while they're setting up the question bank. And it's a very serious affair. It's a whole department that is responsible. So when the conduct of the examination happens, at 5 p.m. in the evening, me, the Vice Chancellor, all of us get WhatsApp messages from the department saying that, hey, we are through and it's so successful and all that. So that's the kind of level of commitment that we have. I would suggest that it can be an autonomous body, like NAC is an autonomous body under the UGC. So if it is an autonomous body, but let it be managed totally by academics who are serious about examinations, and they would be the right people.
Right. That's an important point. And let me go across to Dr. Rao once again. Dr. Rao, now, when we see the solutions that are there on the table, a committee has been formed under former chairman of ISRO, K. Radhakrishnan, to look into recommendations. They're going to speak to parents, students, academicians, and make recommendations to the government on changes in the SOPs. But there have been reforms which have been pending on the table for many years now. We do know the solutions as well, don't we? For example, conducting the NEET exam online now, or conducting the NET exam online. Now, that was something that had been there on the table. It had been recommended by officials in the health ministry, but it was never done. Don't you think the solutions are already there and we just need to implement them?
Yeah, in fact, I just wanted to add one more point to what Dr. Vidya is saying. NTA conducts so many exams, right? Almost every month they are conducting one large examination. And these people have also nothing, there is no ownership of these exams. You conduct, somebody else admits, somebody else joins, and all of that. And when you are conducting so many examinations without that kind of an ownership sort of a thing, these problems will arise because everything becomes, day-to-day 9 to 5 kind of a job, and you don't take these things seriously anymore. I think we should leave these examinations to the educational institutions which have a stake in these examinations. That's something very good. Coming to the point that you mentioned, the online examinations with a large question bank, right, where the questions are randomly picked up and using all kinds of algorithms. Even BITS conducts BITSAT examination, which is taken by almost 200,000 students for 3,500 seats. I think that we have a large question bank now, and students come take that exam a couple of times whenever they want it. They can book those slots, and then all the normalization happens across the different batches. That is the way to go, I think, for these large examinations. One of the reasons probably why they were keeping themselves away from online examinations was this normalization process. Sometimes the concern is, if different students are taking different examinations, is the normalization good enough kind of a thing? That is one concern. But there are so many algorithms. You talk to mathematicians, you create a large enough question bank with difficult levels of questions, and all of that can be managed. And I know that's how the world actually does things. And the NEET, if you look at 23 lakh
Dr. Rao,
students,
I'm running out of time. I'd like to ask one more question before we leave. Yeah, one more quick question if I can put in, sir. How do you reduce the possibility of paper leakages? How do you make sure that the entire process of making the question paper, conducting the exam is so tight-knit, so closely held, that the possibility of a leak is minimized?
I think just look at the JEE advanced protocols. That is one exam which is sacrosanct for IITs, and which is actually a pen and paper, kind of there are question papers set there. Of course, the answers are done on the computers, but there is a question paper kind of a thing. And there, those protocols are all there, for one to conduct that examination, starting from paper setting all the way up to how do you conduct those exams, and who gets to see that question paper. The problem with NEET is 13 languages, 4,500 centers, 23 lakh students. I think, that's inviting trouble. I mean,